Air travel has long been surrounded by a number of myths and misconceptions, often stemming from a lack of understanding about how airplanes work. These myths can range from misunderstandings about aviation history to how planes operate in the sky. Let's take a closer look at 5 common airplane myths and debunk them to reveal the truth behind modern aviation. Myth 1: the first airplane was the Wright Flyer. The Wright Flyer was not the first airplane. The first airplane was the Clément Ader Éole. The Clément Ader Éole was an early aircraft designed and built by French inventor Clément Ader in the late 19th century. Clément Ader, an engineer and aviation pioneer, is often considered one of the first people to experiment with powered flight. His most notable creation was the Éole, a bat-like, steam-powered flying machine with a wingspan of around 14 meters, 46 feet. On October 9, 1890, Ader claimed to have achieved a brief, uncontrolled hop in the Éole, covering approximately 50 meters, 164 feet, at a height of 20 centimeters, 8 inches, off the ground. While this flight was not sustained or controlled, it is one of the earliest attempts at powered flight, predating the Wright brothers' success by over a decade. Despite his early experiments, Ader's designs were not as successful as later airplanes, mainly due to their lack of proper control mechanisms. However, his contributions to aviation, particularly in the field of powered flight, remain significant. The Wright Flyer was a glider, not a powered airplane? The Wright Flyer was actually a powered airplane, not a glider. However, before creating the Wright Flyer, Orville and Wilbur Wright spent years experimenting with gliders to understand the principles of flight, such as lift, control, and aerodynamics. Here's the distinction. Wright gliders, 1899 to 1902. Before building the Wright Flyer, the Wright brothers tested several gliders. These were unpowered aircraft that relied on wind to generate lift. The brothers used these gliders to experiment with flight control, especially their development of wing warping, which allowed them to control the aircraft's roll and thus its stability and direction. The Wright Flyer, 1903. The Wright Flyer, unlike their earlier gliders, was powered by a custom-built internal combustion engine. It was the first heavier-than-air aircraft to achieve controlled, sustained flight with a pilot on board. This marked the transition from unpowered gliders to powered flight, making the Wright Flyer a true powered airplane. So, while the Wright brothers began their journey with gliders, the Wright Flyer of 1903 was not a glider but a powered airplane equipped with an engine and propellers. Myth 2: all planes need engines. No, not all planes need engines. While most modern airplanes rely on engines for powered flight, certain types of aircraft can fly without engines. Here are the main types of aircraft that do not require engines. Gliders. Gliders are designed to be aerodynamically efficient and can stay aloft by using natural air currents, such as thermals or ridge lift. They are typically launched by being towed into the air by a powered aircraft or a winch, and once released, they rely on gravity and air currents to maintain flight. Example: sailplanes are a type of high-performance glider capable of flying long distances without an engine. Paragliders and hang gliders. These lightweight aircraft rely on gravity and wind conditions to glide through the air. Paragliders use fabric wings, while hang gliders use a rigid frame. They are launched from a high point, such as a hill or cliff, and glide downward using air currents for sustained flight. Hot air balloons. Hot air balloons don't need an engine to fly. Instead, they rise and fall based on the temperature of the air inside the balloon, controlled by a burner that heats the air. They move with the wind and do not have powered propulsion systems to control direction. Unpowered drones or unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. Some unpowered unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, are launched and glided without the need for an engine. These are often used for specific testing or military applications. So while most commercial and military airplanes need engines for propulsion, Gliders and other unpowered aircraft can remain airborne without them, relying on aerodynamic lift, gravity, or external forces like thermals and wind.